Something happened to me when I was growing up. Now, let me tell you about it because it refers to what I'm going to be talking about today, which our soul thirsting for God. I think I was emotionally pretty stable as a boy, and I was reasonably devout, and I had a love for the Lord and for the church. I wanted to be good, and I said my prayers, and I believed in the Lord, and that was important to me. But as I got older, I began to thrash around a bit, kind of thinking there's maybe some stuff out there that I'm not experiencing, that I'm not seeing, that I need to find out, I need to discover, I need to find out what this big wide world is all about, the world of thought, the world of politics, the world of experience. And when I went off to Notre Dame for college, I was searching, but it wasn't a desperate search. It was like a pretty peaceful search. But then in my freshman year, I took this writing, literature, English class from a famous professor who was famous for awakening his students to beauty and truth and goodness through literature. And that's what happened to me. I just sort of developed this incredible thirst for knowing, for experiencing, just struck by the beauty of certain literature he had us read, and developing like a fairly intense desire to know what's the substance of things, what's the meaning for things, can we really know the truth, what is the truth? Eventually it led me to become a philosophy major. I later did get a doctorate, but it was in theology, philosophy major, and my search for the truth intensified. I just had this almost kind of desperate longing to know what's true and what's beautiful and what's good, and how can I possess it, how can I know it, how can I be possessed by it. And fortunately, as I've shared on other occasions, a friend invited me to a weekend retreat called the Cursillo, a movement from Spain that helped many Catholics renew their faith. For me, it wasn't just the renewal of my faith. It was, this is it. This is what I've been longing for. This is what I've been looking for. This is what I've been hoping existed somehow or other. It's God. It's the Lord. It's meeting the reality of the risen Christ and realizing that he really is the Lord. And he really has been raised from the dead. And our life can be filled with it. And then at the very end of the Cursillo, as I've shared on other occasions, I just experienced the love of God being poured into my soul. And it was like my hunger, my thirst for beauty, for goodness, for love was being fulfilled. And I was just so glad that God exists, that God is. I still am thrilled every time I hear God speak about himself. I am who am. Yes, you are, Lord. You are who is. You're the source of existence. You're the source of all being. You're the source of everything that is. And then when Jesus, of course, said it to the Pharisees that were questioning him, he said, I am. I am. Declaring his divinity, but just not a cold philosophical divinity, but God who is love, God who is truth, God who is filling our souls. So I am just so grateful that God exists. I am so grateful that he's revealed himself to us, but not only revealed himself to us in an intellectual way that we can believe intellectually, but revealed himself to us as closer to us than our own breath, as willing to completely fill our soul as we are willing to allow him to. Jesus says, if you love me, the Father and I will come and dwell in your soul. What a joy it is to me for the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit to dwell in my soul. What a joy it is that I know it really couldn't be the case, but this infinite longing I have in my soul for God, for goodness, for truth, for beauty, for love, can be fulfilled and is being fulfilled right now here on earth, but is going to be infinitely fulfilled when we see him face to face, and when all traces of imperfection and all clinging to anything less than God is taken away, and then he's going to be all in all. Yay. So let me read this psalm here, Psalm 63. My soul is thirsting for you, O Lord my God. O God, you are my God whom I seek. For you my flesh pines and my soul thirsts, like the earth parched, lifeless without water. You know, you see cracked, dry earth. And, oh, you just know that if it could speak of, say, I'm longing for water, I'm longing for water, I'm longing for the dew of the Holy Spirit, I'm longing for God himself. Thus have I gazed towards you in the sanctuary, to see your power and your glory. For your kindness is a greater good than life. My lips shall glorify you. Yes. I hope right now my lips are glorifying God, because I want to glorify him. I want to give him glory. I want to acknowledge how absolutely amazing and wonderful and kind and merciful it is that God exists, and he's willing to fill our soul. He's willing to meet the longing of our soul, a desire for infinite happiness to be fulfilled. Thus will I bless you while I live. Lifting up my hands, I will call upon your name. As with the riches of a banquet shall my soul be satisfied. You know, everybody appreciates a good meal. And an especially good meal, you feel satisfied, you feel full. But the fullness that we need is not just a good meal for our body, but we need God. We need to be filled with God. And not just even for our soul, but for our body too. We need to be filled with God, because our flesh pines and our soul thirst, both our flesh and our soul. As with the riches of a banquet shall my soul be satisfied. With exultant lips my mouth shall praise you. Great joy, great rejoicing, shouts of joy. You are my help, and in the shadow of your wings I shout for joy. My soul clings fast to you. I'm holding on to you, Lord. Never let me go. I never want to let you go. My soul is clinging to you. Your right hand upholds me. Brothers and sisters, what amazing good news. We don't think about it, but the fact that God exists, the fact that there is a God, the fact that there is meaning, the fact that there is infinite love and infinite beauty and infinite truth, and it can fill us. And the reason why we're created, because we are infinitely loved, and God desires for us to have that longing and thirsting of our soul and our pining of our bodies for God, for fulfillment, for happiness to be realized. Thanks be to God. Let's just thank God for being God, for revealing himself to us, to coming and dwell in us. And let's really exalt him with praise and raise our hands and shout for joy.